Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever, whenever you see this. How are y'all's doing today? Oh, I need my other deck too. I had a dream last night that was real weird, y'all. It was real weird, y'all. So I was at this pool, and basically, long story, long dream, short-ish. I was at this pool. I was having a good time. I kept rewinding time for some reason. Maybe because I was just really having a good time. I'm and maybe I didn't want that moment to end. So I was rewinding time and it was fine. But so I have two brothers. I got the brother that caused trouble in my dreams and I got the brother that I protect in my dreams, right? So I'm rewinding time, just enjoying the moment. And my brother shows up. The troublemaking brother shows up. And he comes for whatever reason when he shows up, a bunch of other people show up. And I don't think I was necessarily like rewinding the exact same moment. I was in the beginning, but like it was, let's say it was like summertime, and these moments at the pool were my favorite, so I kept rewinding them. And I remember there were like more people, and I rewound time again. What is this? What is this? Oh, it's a letter that fell on the floor. I was like, is that a card? And he pointed it out, and he was like, he keeps rewinding time, and y'all don't even notice. Y'all don't even notice. Like, look at the sun. Like, it's supposed to be early in the day. Why is the sun about to set? What time did y'all actually come here? So I guess I didn't even notice it either. But he pointed out that even though I was like rewinding time or I kept replaying the same moments, the sun was still moving. Oh, maybe that's about being stuck in the past. Okay, okay. The sun was still moving. The world outside of the pool, and it was like an indoor. It was like an indoor pool, but like one of those big indoor pools. The world outside kept moving, and like everybody turned on me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I like, like I didn't mean it. Like I just wanted to be happy, and I was just having such a good time, and everybody was so happy, so I kept rewinding. And he basically radicalized them against me, and so I'm up here running. Well, I wasn't running. So what happened was I went outside, and it's like I released all of that stored time back into the atmosphere. And so what it did was it actually moved the sun back to where it was the first time we went through that experience. So now it would play through, and the internal world would match the external world. And now I'm like, now that I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about how like pools are about water, and like, I said like the past, and like all this other stuff is starting to like make sense now that I'm talking about it. Like being emotionally stuck in certain places and these happy memories, but not living the life outside, not leaving any room for more happy memories to come in because we're so fixated on the ones that have already gone by. And so I fixed it. I shot all of that stored time back up into the sky. The sun moved back to where it was supposed to be, and then we like hit play. But for some reason, after I did that, they ended up turning on him. Or he found himself on the receiving end of some bad whatever. And I was like, you was just trying to like radicalize people against me. Now I gotta come back and protect you. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I've actually been protecting the troublemaking brother a lot in dreams. I actually had one dream where I couldn't protect him, and that broke me. Luckily, the dream wasn't as bad as it could have been, because that was in the space of, in the same dream, I had encountered somebody else who was like beat up and broke me. It broke me, and I hate having dreams where I see people that I care about beat up and distraught. But it happens every now and then, and I'm just like, why? 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 Why do I have to dream about this? what good does it do me to know that this person is hurting and to have to see it so visibly in front of me? Even if it is only a dream, it's still like it affects, dreams affect us. Um, so anyway, I ended up saving him, and we were like selling this thing or creating this thing where it would actually allow people to travel through time, or it would allow people to basically rewind their own lives, maybe. But I noticed this one girl, because when we were selling it, and this was after I had already been called out for rewinding these certain moments, we were trying to sell it with these certain caveats of like what it is for and what it isn't for. And there was this girl who kept like taking it from us, and we're like we know you have it, like give it back. And so she gave it back, but she had like two more hidden or something like that, and I knew that she had it, but for some reason I just packed it all up. So at this point I packed it all up, and me and my two brothers, we were going to go to the future, or like our time in that space had ended, so we were moving off to the next space. And so we come back, and there are some people who recognize me slash us, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're back, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, last time you were here, like blah 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 blah, and like we've been doing this and we've been doing that." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But also, part of me was wondering, like, well, what about that one girl who took two of the devices? Like, I don't know if they worked after we left, but she didn't show up. But there were a few people who were doing some amazing things, and then there was like this bulletin or something of this one guy who was maybe arrested. I don't know who ended up not super well. Ooh, Justice in the Nine of Cups. We had Justice in the Seven of Cups on the Legacy channel. Justice in the Nine of Cups over here. So over here, maybe we're a little bit closer to, I don't know, getting that Nine of Cups because we've stopped that 7-8 dance potentially. Potentially. Okay, I didn't mean to stop with the title card at the top, but hey. So what am I talking about? What am I saying? Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. Like, and then we left again, and we came back not too much longer after. And the second time we came back, um, the people were older, and they're like, oh, like you're back sooner this time. Like last time we waited like decades. And whenever we traveled, there was never a certain intention on the time at which we would exit the stream. It was just like, okay, we're moving on to the next. Um, and like things were really, really, really good in that last one. And I guess, like I said before, now that I'm talking about it, I guess it just goes to prove or goes to show that like I didn't have to keep rewinding those same moments for good times. Cause like there was like prosperity and like happiness, and like people were glad to see me instead of not being glad to see me because I kept rewinding the same good moments. And they were like, "What?" But I'm like, if we all happy, then what's the problem? I don't see what the issue is here. Everyone's having a good time. But people are like, yeah, but you know, we still want to live our lives. Hello. But anyway, so I decided, or it was announced that we would do, we would sponsor the I forget the word for it, but it was basically swim meets. We would sponsor these things that are held at the pool again. And I was like, what? I was blown away, and I was really happy. And everyone else was really happy because, again, the pool was that moment that I kept rewinding. Um, but I didn't realize that I guess I was a part of an organization because it was announced that we would be sponsoring the pool again, like we would be funding it. But I didn't even know that like I was part of funding it the first time. And so maybe it could also speak to me being involved in creating those happy moments. And again, it's like as long as I am an active participant in my life and in seeking more of those moments and creating more of those moments and inviting people into those moments, then I don't have to worry about the ones that have already passed because there will be more. I don't know. It was such a weird dream. It was such a weird dream. It's so interesting. And then there was this bit about that's fine. That's what the majority of the dream. I did say long dream short ish. That's the long dream short ish version. The card that came out is an internal truth burning to be seen, the yin side of masculinity, and a thrusty yet elegant dance. That reminds me of Roxanne from Moulin Rouge. Roxanne, you don't have to put on that red dress. Okay, let's just get into this and see what comes out for today. Actually, since we're talking about dreams, I'm feeling the Magical Dimensions Oracle cards and activators today. Let's see if I can remember where they are down here. It should be right here. Yep. It was such an interesting dream, though. And maybe that just means happy times ahead, you know? Don't gotta be stuck in the past. It's gonna come back again. Or something. Oh goodness, not the singing. I've been watching a lot of Steven Universe. So I'm surprised I haven't been singing more. But I'm gonna try to keep that to a minimum for this because I really need to get busy on the stuff that I need to get busy on, which is the schoolwork. Okay, so I'm feeling like I need one of these. So let's do it this way. Ice Queen! Ice Queen! I love Ice Queen! Give me one card face down. I'll only take it if it's face down. At the most, I'll take 2 cards. And then I'll read that after everything else. How's that? Please? And I'm just going to keep going until a card comes out that fulfills what I said. Oh, well, look, right there. Thank you. Bottom of the deck is the Crown Portal, number 44, I believe. Nope, number 8, which, I mean, 44 reduces to an 8, so kind of. Divinity, Unity, and Separation, the Crown Portal. Bottom of the deck. Ooh. So this is here. Now I want to get one of these, and then I'll get one of the other ones. That'll keep this fairly short. And sweet. Ooh, the Tower and the Four of Swords. It's time to wake up. That's alarm clock all day long. Tower and the Four of Swords. That's the bam, bam, bam. 2 of Cups in the Tower. Like I said, it's time to wake up. It's like waking up from a good dream when reality is even sweeter. But you have to give it the opportunity to be. 8 of Orbs at the bottom of the deck, the Journeyman, which is about mastery. It's also about handling the things that are right in front of you, though, that will ultimately lead to mastery. So we're going to end with the Memory Keeper, 6 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. That's interesting, because... Why is that interesting? I don't know. I feel like I've seen the 6 of Cups lately, but it was actually the 7. So between the Page of Pentacles and the 9 of Pentacles is coming out this card. It's like, here's the 9 of Pentacles. There's the Page bringing the 10th one, or news of the 10th Pentacle. Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. We got Crown Portal, the Memory Keeper. Let's see what we get out of here. one card face down, please. Or 2 cards face down, preferably 1 card face down, please. And we're just going to keep doing this until you give me 1. Oh, that's more than 1. It's more than 1. I've been thinking a lot. So, time travel is something, it's been a theme in my dreams, like always. And I remember when I was younger, I actually had a dream. It was almost like a Christmas Carol, but maybe it was an angel. I don't remember who. But I actually went into the past with someone. And I go into the house, and it was my mom. I saw my mom grow up in my dreams. Or in a dream, in that dream. I saw her like literally grow up from when she was a kid to before she had me. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't know. But she's one of those, like, I'm very, probably unsurprisingly connected to my mother. So, in my dream space, sometimes people show up, and sometimes I see things with people that I don't want to see, like their pain. Because then I'd be like, what am I supposed to do with this? Now, there was this one kid who got picked on by literally everybody. And after I had the dream of him like crying in the bathroom and he wouldn't stop crying, it broke me. So I decided to be nicer to him and to be his friend. And I didn't need that dream to do that, but we just like, we didn't have any classes together and we rode the same bus, but like that was it. Now that I think about it, I don't know why or how we rode the same bus. Because we don't live, I'm thinking of like where he lived and where some other people lived on that bus and where somebody else lived on that bus. And I'm like, we did not, I don't know, but it's a bus, so you ain't all got to be neighbors, I guess. Okay. Have I ever had a dream where somebody was like happy? Like I randomly come upon somebody and they're just happy instead of like being able to tap into their misery and like, oh my gosh, why are you so sad? Why are you beat up right now? Wake up with heavy hearts. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I've seen my mom grow up in dreams before. I also went to the future with my brother, the one that I protect, and it was like some kind of like, I mean, that one, maybe I watched something, I don't know. But there was like this space domey thing, and there was like a concert on one floor, and we were going to the floor where all of the, maybe it was like a hotel, like a complex where they have like residential area on some floors and then like entertainment on other floors. And I remember there was somebody shady who got into the elevator when we were going up to the residential part. And I don't remember what happened, but I was like, oh, my brother is here, the one that I protect, which means that I'm probably going to have to defend him from something. Sometimes I be stressed. Okay. There we go. Thank you. 2 cards. That's fine. I'll take them. Bottom of the deck is the 5 of Hearts, where passion meets determination, going the distance, and a need for discipline. That has been coming out a lot. 5 of Hearts, 6 of Cups, and the Crown Portal. That's kind of 5 of Cups, 6 of Cups, which is the 11 of Cups. And then we have the Crown here, which could be like an emotional awakening or some type of awakening tied to the emotions or the emotional body. Maybe it is realizing that we don't have to cry over the cups that have spilled and keep ourselves in these moments of trying to reclaim some past happiness. With this awakening in the Crown Portal, it's falling into the knowing that these moments will come again. And it's aligning more to the future where these moments exist rather than the past and the corresponding present where they don't. Because we're aligned to the past, right? So let's start with these 2, and then we'll go here and then here. So we're going to I Ching these 2. and look at the Lenormands if they have them, and then we'll build up. So we got the Five of Clubs, which I believe we saw. Ooh, and the King of Clubs, the Five of Clubs and the King of Clubs. That is a Six of Wands type energy, where the King is holding that six wand. Someone's coming back a king from whatever this Five of Clubs conflict was. The Five of Essences, or the Five of Souls, sorry, and the Sage of Souls. It's interesting because the Sage of Souls energy, I think it actually popped up on one of these cards, or maybe actually two of them. And the Sage of Souls is the one who knows himself intimately, and the one who is himself, like on a soul level. And it becomes this interesting balance of, it's like being or knowing all of who you are in a space that isn't necessarily capable of receiving it. And so, whereas the Journey of Essences is about finding the pieces of us that work in this lifetime and finding the pieces of us that we need in this lifetime, the Journey of Souls, it's almost like switching out different pieces, because you can't be all of who you are all at once. And so it's like the Journey of Essences, but at this point it's a lot more conscious than just discovering like what naturally works in this life and what naturally is coming back to be utilized. This is a space of deciding. This is the piece of me that fits this situation the best, so I'll pull this out. Now I need to use this other piece and this other piece. And it also, I mean, the crown portal is at the bottom of the deck. It also does speak of that crown portal energy, because it is the soul, it is that spark that is connected to that which created all and that which knows all. It's connected to the all. And so it's also that deepened connection, if that makes any sense. Because at the seat of the soul, it's like there is no separation, really, between you and all that there is. There is no separation, really, between you, the all, and everything else. But there is. And it's interesting because I was just thinking about this. I read someone's comment and they were like, I am the all, and something like that. And in my, or at least my line of thinking right now, like unity consciousness is great and oneness is great, but I feel like you were created you for a reason, and something within you, although a part of the all and a piece of the all, something within you is unique and was divinely intended to be here, not as the all, but as you. And oh, I don't want to say it, but it's like you being you is almost more wonderful or amazing or miraculous or spectacular than you being the all, because the all is everything. Nothing is separated, nothing is delineated, it's all one. There's nothing that makes anything special when it's in the all. But when you are you, you're special. There's something that is uniquely you that is not the all. And then we have the Five of Souls, which is being at, it's like the top of the roller coaster before you really plunge into discovering who you are more fully. So we have the king and we have the five, and it's interesting because it's almost like at the space of the five, we can slip into this king energy or the sage energy. It's almost like we can embody, and maybe that's why I was feeling the sage like that, because the five is here. And maybe if it was the Sage of Souls on its own, then he could fully be all of who he is, or she is, or it is. But with the five here, it's like there's this opportunity to like embody parts of it. Like I was watching the movie, the Steven Universe movie, and like he starts the movie with his powers, he ends the movie with his powers, and in between he has to relearn them. And so it was like these moments of like some powers activating for a certain amount of time, but they weren't stable and they weren't operating to the capacity that he was used to. And it's like this energy, it's like with the five, it's like you can come into it and you can maintain it for a certain amount of time, but you can't be all of who you are all of the time. And so there's almost this need to reserve it for the spaces that really need it. Almost, not quite. Because when you really need it, it'll be available to you. So that's why it's the not quite. But at the same time, you don't want to overtax the system. You don't want to overtax the body. You don't want to hold so much fire that it makes you a little crispy. Right? I mean, a little crispy is fine, but you know, a pile of ash is probably a little bit excessive. Probably a little excessive, a little bit. So, you know, let's get into the I Ching, I guess we'll do first. And only the King of Wands will have one. Maybe I'll look these up so much that I'll eventually start to remember what these are. Oh my gosh, that would be like so cute. Sure. That would be so fetch if that happens, where I could just remember these. So, King of Clubs. King of Clubs is the clouds, confusion, unclarity, misunderstanding, insecurity, doubt, hidden, secrets, negative, and fall. Well, we're coming into the fall in like 3 days. On the 22nd is when we have the autumnal equinox. It'll be officially Libra season, officially spring. I mean fall. Why did I go? I said spring because this spring was the earliest spring that we've had in I think like 100 and something years. It was the earliest that the spring equinox has come in a minute. And so we actually entered Aries season a day before the calendar layout for when the season starts. And I've been doing this thing where I follow the transits more than I follow the calendar. And so I was like, oh, spring is here a day early. Aries season is here a day early. And it's like, if we fall into the idea of what things are supposed to be instead of paying attention to how they actually feel, if we can heighten our energetic sensitivity, and I know I was like checking the transits, but still, bear with me here. If we can tap into the energetic sensitivity of things, we can feel the shift before it actually happens. And when we feel the shift, and when we magnetize, I wanted to say like magnetate. Hey Siri, define magnate.
Which word? M-A-G-N-A-T-E or M-A-G-N-E-T?
M-A-G-N-A-T-E.
Magnate means a wealthy and influential person, especially in business.
Oh, okay. So hey, maybe that's the future that we're aligning to. I mean, hey, that's I'm one of the ones that I'm aligning to. It ain't about me. Because when you feel it and when you trust it, that's what makes it easier to align with not the state of the world right now, but to align to the space of where it's heading. And when you can feel it energetically, And when you know it, it makes it a lot easier to not just be like, oh, like this is just wishful thinking, or like, oh, what's actually happening, and blah, blah, blah. It smooths these physical transitions because the energy always predates the appearance. Spiritual first, then like mental, emotional, well, spiritual, and then mental, and then physical. And it's easier for things to move in spirit than it is for it to move in the mental or the physical. It's easier for things to move in the mental than it is to move in the physical. And the physical is where it's like the slowest. And so if you're waiting on the physical, everything has already happened both on the spiritual and on the mental. So if you can tap into the spiritual and even the mental, it's like you anchor it in your physical to where it has no choice but to come into be. Right? And I've been seeing some readings lately, and it's like, oh, like, things are looking like this and things are looking like that and things are looking like really good for you. And I'm like, yeah, it has no choice because that's the path that I've been aligning myself to. It's the energy I felt a while ago, and it's what I've been aligning myself to. And that's how I've been choosing to navigate and steer myself through life. And I've done my best to try to encourage other people to do the same, you know? But it's not as easy. And I think that's the energy of the clouds here. When the clouds come in, we can't see the heavens. And when the clouds come in, sometimes, like, depending on the clouds, we think, oh, it's going to rain because those clouds are looking dark. Right? And sometimes it doesn't rain, sometimes it does. But there's also different types of clouds. You have your cumulus, your nimbus, your cirrostratus, like, all the different types of clouds. And they all kind of sort of mean something different. But when we just look at clouds as clouds, when we don't differentiate the meaning behind them, again, it's a way that the heavens reveals to us what will come down into the physical. But when we only have a certain limited knowledge of the meanings of those, then it's easy to sometimes misattribute one thing to the other. And it can have us aligning ourselves to things that don't necessarily have to be. And it's the sage that has the intuitive knowing of what all of that means through its connection to the one. And it's like through your connection to the one, through your connection to all, you can get access to realms of knowledge and sensitivity and understanding that you may not consciously have the experience of having, but in having the connection, getting the information, and trusting the information, it'll help you navigate in your 5 with the knowledge of this king. Ooh, I like that. I like that. So I'm gonna I Ching first, and then I'll read the cards. Natalie's a Virgo. Everyone's a Virgo. Oh my gosh! I promise. I need a. Oh, and Allie is a Virgo. Oh yeah, she just got her PhD. Allie got her PhD. I'm like, oh my gosh. We literally started school at the same time. She has her PhD, and I'm still working for my undergrad. But that's how life works sometimes. I'm super proud of her. She's really cool. She's really cool. She's cute. She's smart. She's into video games and anime and sci-fi. I'm like, girl, like, if I were straight, like, I would go, like, you would be my type. Intelligent, beautiful, gamer, like, into sci-fi, like we talked about Doctor Who, like, anime. I'm like, yes, like, why can't I find dudes like some of the girls that I know? Like, I feel like I'm like more compatible with a lot of the girls that I know than the guys who come into my experience, but it's fine. That's the old narrative that I'm choosing to let go, right? I'm coming in, and I know that there's somebody special out there for me who like love me and stuff, and who it's like effortless and easy with, and we can just be like happy. And it's not that it'll always be perfect, but hey, when you communicate and when you try, it makes bumpy roads so much smoother. I'm getting into the I Ching. I opened my phone and I forgot why. It was the birthday notifications. The birthday notifications threw me off. There was this other dude who I grew up with who's also a Virgo. Met him early in elementary school. He actually has the same birthday as my father. Not the year, obviously. Um, but he's also a Virgo. I'm like, oh. And he was one of my best friends growing up. I was like, oh, another Virgo best friend. Look at that. Oh, another Gemini. Or another crush that turns out to be a Gemini. Oh, another platonic that turned out to be a Virgo. I don't know how it happened for me, but it just did, apparently. King of Wands and the Five of Wands is double fire. We had double thunder yesterday, didn't we? Which was accolades, I believe. Double fire is number 30, attachment, and we've seen this one before. Recently, too, I believe. And maybe this is the attachment to the one. Emotional attachment and clinging. You are clinging on emotionally. You hope you can depend or rely on one who you have attached yourself emotionally to. Yet, for the matter at hand, clinging is auspicious. Nurturing and caring for the fertile cow will bring prosperity. Though you cling, do persevere. You must burn with fire from within, and not rely on the external burning of fire. The luminous fire must the luminous fire must start from within and burn outward. Clinging and emotional attachment is auspicious if the inner fire itself burns bright. This is the burning bright of that inner fire with the King of Wands, Sage of Souls energy, that in the external draws like to it. Now, with this being the space of the five, I think that it's like there are so many narratives and so many different paths with this. Excuse me. But the latest one is like the more that you sit in your sage energy, the more you will shift what you attract on the outside. And the King of Wands and the Five of Wands, that's about like the king doesn't fight every single battle. The king doesn't need to. The people who go after the king have a lot more to prove and they have a lot more to gain. They have a throne to gain, they have reputation to gain. What does the king have to gain by fighting anybody? More often than not, nothing. Right? Like, oh, you want to challenge the throne? Okay, get in line with the rest. And it's like you're not even coming into your own power before you try to challenge mine. Like, maybe deal with your insecurities or whatever you got to deal with within yourself. Like, kings got to deal with themselves, queens got to deal with themselves. People want to challenge kings and queens for their throne, but it's like if you come into the power of your own throne, you wouldn't even need to do that. So let's start with the king first, and then we'll do the five. So, where feminine and masculine meet, the conception of innocence, nesting and preparation. Nesting and preparation is interesting. There's also a 444 on this card, 24, 5, 4, 1, 4, and 3. It's interesting because that's what I was speaking of when it comes to like knowing what is coming before it's here. The conception of innocence. Conception is where the act happens and where the egg is fertilized. Conception happens before the morning sickness, before the other symptoms, before the belly bloats, before you can see the baby, before it even like it's a fertilized egg. I don't even know if it's a fetus at this point. Right? Conception is boom, sperm hit egg. And it's the conception of innocence. Innocence being something brand new, being something untainted, something untouched, and something unknown. Where feminine and masculine meet, that is the egg meeting the sperm. That's where feelings meet thoughts, and where desires meet actions. And they form that kundalini, or they flank that kundalini energy. And when the kundalini rises, right, that's when things start to happen. Five of Clubs is the day of longest light or night, a garment for all occasions, and filling a gap. A garment for all occasions is interesting because if we're talking about pregnancy, 41, 4, 10, 3, 3, and 1. Let's see. There's no, they share no common numbers here. Okay, that's fine. But it's like clothes that like even when like someone's pregnant, they still fit. Excuse me. It reminds me of there was this like some kind of techno shirt that would mold to a woman's belly. And maybe there was also another one that like when she put it on, she didn't even look pregnant. In this in Eureka, it's a sci-fi show that I love. It's one of my favorite shows, Eureka. I actually started watching Eureka last summer. And I was like, I stopped watching it because I was like, where is my Jack Carter? Like, I'm not going to finish this show until I find my Jack Carter. My Sheriff Carter. I ended up finishing the show. You know, Sheriff Carter isn't here, but he's on his way. Okay. Okay. Goodness. But anyway. And filling a gap. Filling the gap, it reminds me of, like I said, it's like there are these moments where it's like we can channel in all of who we are, or we can be stronger than we currently are in that moment. We could be more capable than we are in that moment, where we tap into and embody and draw forth things from the realm of potential and our highest potential, or at least our greater potentials. But again, with the five, it's like almost not sustainable, or it isn't yet sustained in our reality. And it's not to give up the vision, it's to continue the preparation, right? And if something happens, then maybe it's revealing an area where you can be a little bit more prepared. So here's the initiate. I mean, here's the egg. Like the egg with the snake around it. Snakes symbolize fertility and stuff like that, right? I mean, like the conception of innocence, nesting an egg, nesting, even though there's no nest in this egg, or the egg ain't in a nest. The day of longest light or night speaks to the solstices. And I've talked about that recently, and how we're heading from the summer solstice to the winter solstice, how on the summer solstice there was an eclipse. A week before the winter solstice, there will be another solar eclipse. And so there's a week after the eclipse, but before the solstice. And that's when the nights are getting longer and longer and longer. The initiate card, the Fool, this is something that's brand new. Both of these are fire, so I can actually I Ching. Well, no, because that'll give the same message. Because I think the Fool is a double energy. Wait, scroll continuously. What? What? How I turn that on? Where that setting at? Excuse me? Yeah, the Fool. No, it's heaven, actually. So this will be fire over heaven. Because they're both fire, so I don't have to do them separate. Fire over heaven is Accolades, number 14. We just saw Accolades yesterday. I'll read it again. I love Accolades. Hey, we got the double fire down here, which was about when clinging is auspicious because the internal fire burns brighter than the external fire. Our love of self is greater than our need to be loved by others. And if the fire don't match up, our fire will outcompete those fires. But now here's the accolades where you get these fires that, can burn together. Accolades, great praise, gains, and validation. Prognostications of a great harvest. Heaven bestows great blessings. Let me define this for folks. Because I think like to prognosticate oneself is to kind of sort of like bow down or something like that, but maybe not. Hey Siri, define prognostication.
Prognostication means the action of foretelling or prophesying future events.
Oh. A prophecy. Girl, that is not what I thought at all. Let me define this for myself. Hello? Prostrating? Is it prostrating? Hey Siri, define prostrate.
As an adjective, it means lying stretched out on the ground with one's face downward.
Yeah, that's the word. I was thinking of prostrating and not prognosticating. So prognostications of a great harvest. And like I said, like it's a prophecy of a great harvest, but it's less the space of prophecy when the energy is already there. And so it's not really, at least in my mind, it's not prophetic or a prophecy or telling of anything if the energy is already there. It's just tapping into the energy before it comes into the physical. But for those more attuned to the physical, I could see why it would seem like prophecy. Prognostications of a great harvest. Heaven bestows great blessings when you have obeyed the will of the divine. Initiations, and here's the initiate. Initiations will not incur any challenges. Be humble and grateful for your blessings, and there should be no guilt in receiving such blessings because you worked for them. You have the resources needed to achieve supreme success and prosperity. To thrive, follow your own path, and most important of all, let others follow theirs. And you see the path that lies before the egg with this snake? And when you go down the path, your guardian wakes up. And so you're actually not alone. But I'm actually feeling like that guardian is more of an observer. It's more observing you. And it's there if you need it, but you shouldn't really need it because of the energy of this Sage of Souls. It's like there for backup or there if you ever doubt or question, but the Sage of Souls is so intimately in tune with himself or herself or themselves that, like again, at the soul, that's the gateway between the self and the all, or the one and the all. Okay, well, let's see what this is. Ooh, ow, ow, I like this. Number 28, Magical Realms. Magical Realms is belief, confidence, and co-creative power. I mean, here's the beginning of the journey to the magical realms, magical realms, magical realms that lie beyond all the BS of life. I said I wasn't gonna sing. Sorry. I can't help it. Singing is my natural state, believe it or not. And the folks in the house have gotten used to it. I remember growing up, my brothers would yell at me all the time. They'd be like, "Shut up." I'm like, "No, I'm happy, and I want to express my happiness. Stop trying to rain on my parade." Magical Realms resonates. Oh, wait. Let's go back to it. Magical Realms, again, is belief, confidence, and co-creative power. This image is connected with the elemental green color ray. And let's pick this bad boy up. Magical Realms resonates to trust in the unseen and magical realms. Our souls are all endowed. You gotta say all twice. All souls are all endowed with the ability to commune with otherworldly and interdimensional beings. And as belief in their existence grows in strength, the ability to also communicate and co-create with them becomes possible. Crossing the boundaries of these limitations provides the confidence and trust in the soul's enormous power for creation into reality. And maybe that's another thing about this. Like I said, it's like when you're coming into the energy of the Sage of Souls, it's about holding true to what you know even before the physical starts to manifest it or show it. And that's one of the ways that we anchor it in before it even comes into being. And what else was it? Maybe that was it. I think there was something else. Crossing the boundaries of these limitations provides the confidence and trust in the soul's enormous power for creation into reality. Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe that was it. And it's like you can tap into the potential of all things. You can tap into the wealth and the reserves of your abundance. But again, the thing about accolades is when it aligns with the divine will. And so that communication with the divine is also important. And it's not to minimize the divine, everything that I said about the one instead of the all, but it's also not to minimize the self, because both things were apparently needed and necessary because they've both been created. But through the space of the one, it's your ability to impact reality, your ability to bring light into areas where there was only darkness, and to encourage others through you being your light to be their own, regardless of how it's received with that Five of Wands type of conflict energy, right? Because the Five of Souls, again, it's like at the precipice or at the brink, at the top of the hill, where gravity will pull us down either way. So it's like lean forward as far as you can while still being securely fastened into the roller coaster ride, to push it over and to get that the scream, right? The oracle interpretation of this card is: it is only in your perception that you may be in limitation. Believe and know that you are far more powerful than you realize. Trust in this. Reach out to the elementals to cultivate trust in your own abilities. The energies around you are vying for your attention. So listen to the wind, sea, earth, and sky, and your answers will swiftly come. You have the ability to create your own reality. Believe in this. The companion crystals are cat's eye and diopside. The companion essential oil is bay laurel. And I know it talks about the elements and stuff like that and the elementals, but it's almost like Minecraft. Not really. But it's like the elements can symbolize different parts of being. And I don't remember them. I wish I could find them. Ooh, hold up a second. Because I think I've recently done a reading for myself using one of the spreads that Benabel posted, and I think I have them all in here. It would be lovely if I do. It would be so lovely if I do. No. Oh, I think I recorded it. Darn it, I think I recorded it in a video instead of writing it down. I need to start writing them down more, or start writing them down again, because I don't got time to watch a video. But it was like, there's to know is one element. Maybe to see is another one. It's like knowing, seeing, living, and all of these other things that the elements represent, y'all. Like fire is the vision, water is the feeling, air is the conception, and the ability to communicate. Earth is the ability to experience. And then spirit is the thing that turns one thing into the other. And so there are these different elements of the self that we're gaining mastery over, but there are also these external elements that we're learning to work with to manifest that which we want. Right? And the divine, when it comes to co-creating with other individuals, will lead you to those individuals who hold pieces of the puzzle that you don't, that can complete those for you. So that's what I got. This was really interesting. I feel like this kind of sort of built off of what was on the legacy today, but again, with the with the Nine of Cups and whatever else came out with the Nine of Cups, it's like over here it's a little bit further. It's a little bit beyond that. But I mean, it ain't a free pass, because with the King and that 5, you have to hold your ground. And that's one of the, I mean, it's like if you can hold your ground in 2020, you could probably hold your ground in any situation and in any space. Because there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot going on right now. And if you have a bad day, you handle it. I've also been feeling that, I guess, like I said last time, I am becoming more and more energetically sensitive to certain things and mentally sensitive. And so I've been finding that it's like I'll be in a certain space or I'll be noticing certain things before it comes down in the physical. And in the noticing of it, it gives me time to prepare for it. Now, I don't know what I'm preparing for or why I'm noticing it until the situation happens. And then I'm like, oh. But it's like, since I have that initial exposure, the actual situation itself doesn't shake me as much, and I'm able to maintain more of a grounding and a footing. All right, final card, please. Final card, please. Oh, say pick one, pick one, pick one. Oh, that one's feeling real good. I'll flip it over after. Ooh, pick another one. Okay. So let me give it a few shuffles over, clear this out a little bit, and then I'll just pick another one. They say that beggars can't be choosers, but I think we are allowed to be selective. Because ain't nobody begging. We're going for what is ours. Right? I'm reaching into the void of my potential. And I am choosing what I want to bring to the light. Let's do this one and this one. I hope I remember. I'll do this so I remember to pull the top 2. They'll probably just slide, but hopefully I'll remember. Now this one is going to jump. Okay. Jump for me, please. Oh, okay. Bottom of the deck is the 3 of Cups, the Kindred. The card that came out is the 9 of Wands. Knight of Wands. Why did I say 9? The Knight of Wands and the 3 of Cups. That's about moving forward intentionally on what the heart desires and stuff like that, right? And this isn't one of those like playery types of nights, but like I said about like reaching into the void of potential and pulling out the thing that you want, the Knight of Wands is the deliverance of fire, right? Fire is warmth, it's purification, it aids in preparation through the space of purification, cooking, but it's also the vision. And so it's like it's all of that. It's purifying the space, it's preparing like cooking and bringing to light the thing that we want. And it's almost like it's attracted to the warmth of your heart, or the frequency that you put out is what warms it up to you. And if you got a cold heart, it don't matter how much you try to manifest it, there's nothing there to pull it in. It's like it has these invisible barriers that it keeps hitting, because your space, like, you have to be in a place of resonance with what it is that you want. And it's that mutual resonance that really, like, you know, attracts the things. I don't know why they keep bumping into each other and then falling back. So maybe we got to slow the descent a little bit, so it elevates us into the position that we need to be in, and it also gets us where we want. Right? If it's too fast, they'll do this. And so maybe we were butting heads with things in the past. Maybe because it was a space of too much desire or desperation or proving or something like that. And it's like, ease into the space. It's like slow and steady. You don't want to frighten it or spook it. You don't want to, like, burn it, right? But I like that Knight of Wands, because, again, I think the biggest message is following that divine will. And sometimes we Knight of Wands after things that don't serve us. But with the Three of Cups, it's celebration. It's about finding things that align with the self. So let's come over to these two cards. The two cards are the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Diamonds, and the Ace of Swords. Ace of Spades, sorry. 10 of Diamonds, Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades is tapping into the seed of all creation, understanding what predates all, things that must remain in the dark. Here's a 77. 77 is that Sage of Souls. Like I said, there are cards that have that Sage of Souls energy on it. Here's one of the cards that has the Sage of Souls energy. The Ten of Diamonds is a blistering heat and freezing cold that lies at the heart of creation, tapping into the seed of all creation, something that lies at the heart of all creation. The truth of the heart made plain and beginnings. Love that. I feel like that's a pretty consistent message. I feel like that's pretty consistent. And let's see what this is. Now we have Sanctuary, number 35. Sanctuary is healing and comfort, faith and restoration. Have faith that what was lost will be returned bigger and brighter and better. Bigger, brighter, better than before. I love that faith as well. So that's what I got. I'm going to shut this down here and then put all of these away. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make the good even better. I'm not going to do the full thing today because I don't know, you shouldn't need it. Right? I hope you're acting in alignment to make the good better. And better 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 and better. And sometimes we look at something miraculous in the moment, but then when we reflect back on it, it's like, oh, like, I set myself up to receive that. I aligned myself to that. And because I aligned myself to that, and because I steadfastly worked for it and approached it, it came to be. So it's not that miracles don't happen, but I think we got to do a little bit more than just believe in miracles. With the Knight of Wands, we have to put something into that belief. We have to reinforce that faith and that belief with something. I hear all the time, the Bible says that faith without works is dead. If you don't put any work into what you're believing in, if there's nothing propelling your faith forward into those spaces, it's like when you're fishing, right? When you fish, there's the action of throwing or casting the line. Then there's the action of reeling it in, right? So when you go fishing, you intend to catch a fish and you have faith that you're going to catch a fish, but it still requires some action. And if you never reel in the fish, you're never gonna get the fish, right? That's the thing. So I hope you're reeling it in. I hope you're aligning to it and reeling it in. All right, later.